Good evening, sports fans. Welcome to a TV Party Tonight extra boxing commentary. This time, Fox Pay-Per-View and Fight TV bring you Manny Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman for the welterweight title. I'm Mark Radledge, your mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified. And I'm joined by Mr. Toxic Masculinity himself, totally 80s, Pat Mullen. How do you do, sir?
Mark thinks he's mortified. Meanwhile, I'm sitting in 103-degree weather with some sort of stomach virus, a fever, and just a genuinely ripe disposition, if you will.
I appreciate you coming to work, even though you're sick. We weren't going to do this one. We were going to do the undercard, Plant versus Lee, that was on Fox proper, and was the lead-in to the pay-per-view. But what changed your mind? What made you decide to do the pay-per-view instead?
Lots of milk and magnesia, some orange juice, some ginger ale, moving an air conditioner, and yeah.
Well, it's a good thing we didn't do that because that ended rather early. Apparently, Mike Lee, bit of a bum, didn't last very long.
Mike Lee fought. That's right.
Yes, third round TKO for the IBF super middleweight title. Caleb Plant knocked him down lots of times. After the third time in the third round, the ref said no mas. From there, we went to Luis Nery defeating Juan Carlos Payano in a ninth round TKO. Sergey Lipinets defeated Yayar Insun via second round TKO. And our co-main event for tonight's proceedings, Yordenis Ugas defeated Omar Figueroa via unanimous decision. And now we are up to our main event, the returning Manny Pacquiao versus your WBA welterweight champion, Keith Thurman. Pat, how did we get here, and why are we here? Why?
We're here because Manny Pacquiao is still a star at age 40. He's still arguably one of the 2 or 3 best-known boxers in the entire world. He's still a star, he's still an attraction, and he still has enough in the tank to compete with the best guys in the welterweight division. What he's got here is arguably the second best guy, maybe the best guy in the division, who hasn't looked all that impressive as of late, and this is a very live fight.
So, didn't Manny Pacquiao retire after he lost a decision to Floyd Mayweather? Is this sort of a Terry Funk thing where, once again, he's coming out of retirement?
No, Manny's never officially retired. There's been times where he said, I need to step back and focus on, my political career or my basketball career or my singing 70s ballads career.
So he took a break from boxing to go do other things, to be a Renaissance man, to pursue other passions, but he's back. And this time he wants the WBA welterweight title. So what does Manny Pacquiao have to do to wrest the title away from the champ, Keith Thurman?
Well, Manny is 40 years old, and he's had 60 professional fights. He's not knocking guys out anymore, but what he is doing, and when he's successful, he's creating these odd angles of attack where he's able to get in, get out, and not take anything in return because of how unorthodox his attack is. He's going to need to do that against Keith Thurman. He needs to keep Keith Thurman on the back foot. He needs to rattle off some combinations and then get out like he did against Adrian Broner. That said, I think it's going to be a little more difficult to do against Keith Thurman than he did against Adrian Broner.
And for that matter, what does Keith Thurman have to do to push off the attack from Manny Pacquiao and retain his title?
Well, offset Manny's rhythm with a good stiff jab. You have to get the jab working against Manny so you can draw his movements. Manny's a southpaw, but he's a southpaw who heavily favors that left-hand attack. So use that left hand of your own to stop his from getting in at you first. Control that distance. On top of that, keep that lead left foot outside of Manny's right. If Manny can push you with his right hand towards his left, he's able to get you in trouble and hurt you and attack. He's going to throw that straight left hand at your body. He's going to throw it at your chest. And then he's going to bring it up to your chin. So Thurman needs to look out for that as well.
So, from your description, it sounds like this fight could go either way.
I genuinely feel it's a very open fight, as do the odds makers. When last I checked, Keith Thurman a very slight favorite at minus 115. Manny Pacquiao just under that at minus 105.
As we're in the ring with Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman, they're currently doing anthems and introductions and whatnot. Thomas Lennon is here. Michael Buffer was in London at the O2 Arena earlier today for a heavyweight fight on DAZN between Dylan White and Oscar Rivas Jr. Were you able to check that out at all?
Nope.
You didn't. There was a great knockout earlier in the evening. Splifka.
Artur Szpilka.
Yeah, got his fucking head knocked off early on in the fight. And then after that, we had David Allen, who threw in the towel against David Price. He was blind in one eye. Looks like he was getting oxygen in the corner. So David Price, who was supposed to be a walkthrough, ended up with the come-from-behind underdog victory. By the way, David Allen compared to David Price looked like they were in two different weight classes.
Not to be confused with David Allen Coe.
No, it was definitely not David Allen Coe. And then the aforementioned Dylan White versus Oscar Rivas Jr., where Dylan White won by decision. It was an interesting fight, to say the least. So that's how my afternoon's gone. I have been watching DAZN since early this afternoon, and that bled right into this Pacquiao-Thurman pay-per-view.
Oh, sorry about that, Mark.
It's fine. It was nice to be back in my own house today, being able to watch boxing on the big TV instead of, somewhere in the corner of a house with the lights off behind a door that says "Beware of the Leopard" with my earphones on, so as not to disturb anyone else. Anyway, so we are almost. Jesus Christ, this is taking forever. We are almost underway here for Manny Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman. Over on ESPN, there was Rafael dos Anjos versus somebody Edwards. I think they're just about getting to the main event of that card. According to Robert Winfrey, it has been a slog tonight. Just one decision after another until I think somebody got starched.
Yeah, it's a shame.
So much boxing on TV these days between all of these streaming services and sports television channels.
And so little of it any good.
That does become a problem, doesn't it? You have all, while I was in the hospital, I actually watched some boxing matches on ESPN Plus, and, it killed time appropriately, but I would not say it was anything earth-shattering.
Well, speaking of lacking earth-shattering, Keith Thurman is known as one-time Keith Thurman, but he has not scored a knockout of an opponent since 2013, unless you count Julio Diaz quitting on his stool a year later, which even then is a 5-year difference from where we are and where we were. Now, Manny, of course, has not been known for knocking guys out either lately, unless you count his fight with a very used up and beaten down Lucas Matisse. Prior to that, Manny had not scored a stoppage of any kind until 2009 against Miguel Cotto.
All right, I think we're about to get underway here. Pat, before we get started, if you're booking fights for Keith Thurman, and you're trying to freshen up this guy, make him a marketable champion, Manny Pacquiao, he your first choice, or would you have gone a different direction?
Well, you look at who he's fought. He fought Danny Garcia, who was considered to be the other number one at the time, and beat him. Fought Sean Porter, who was another guy people thought could be the guy, and he beat him. He just came off a tough fight with Josecito Lopez after a long layoff. Good fight to get him some rounds and some real action. Yeah, why not? If you're gonna take Manny, take him now while it's still worth something, and make your name right now against the legend.
Any other welterweights you see, depending on how this goes, any other welterweights you see, coming up that would be a good fight for either one of these guys?
Well, you got to look at pound for pound rankings. And right there near the top is a man named Terrence Crawford, who is now fighting as a welterweight. And Terrence Crawford may be the best fighter in the world. He's going to be squaring off with Sean Porter coming up. But, man, this guy is real good. Maybe the best fighter in the sport.
So my favorite part of this broadcast so far is that the not the ring commentating desk, but the analysis desk that they go to when they go away from the ring had Deontay Wilder on it.
He doesn't even speak English.
Did you know that one of the commentators referred to him as having the best left hand in the business?
The best left hand.
I believe it was either the best left or right. The best hand in the business, the best punch in the business, something along those lines. I put it on Twitter because it was remarkably funny to me, and of course Robert Winfrey plotzed.
And that reminds me why I'm not on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter's a trash pile. All right. Oh my God, get on with this already.
Nope, we see Keith Thurman standing and bouncing in the corner. There's the graphic, 29-0, 22 KOs, nicknamed one time, and has not lived up to that as of late, from Clearwater, Florida, by Mark's neck of the woods. Studies Buddhism and Hinduism.
Good for him.
I don't understand how you could do that and be a fighter, but that's okay.
All right, and we see the graphic for Manny Pacquiao with 61-7-2 and 39 KOs. He's from the Philippines, nicknamed the Pac-Man. Waka, waka, waka. A lot of pageantry with these big-time fights.
Yeah, it's quite frustrating.
On Eastern Standard Time, it is currently after midnight, and we haven't even begun round one yet.
Yeah, this is terrible. It's not and the likelihood is this fight's going 12, so...
So we'll be with you for that whole hour, people. Hope you enjoy it.
Boy, this is not good.
Oh, it's my favorite referee, Kenny Bayless. Please be fabulous and moonwalk all over the ring.
Kenny Bayless is a riot in person. Having met him at the Hall of Fame, that dude is a trip.
He is by far the most energetic, the most fabulous, the most entertaining referee I've ever seen in boxing.
As a friend of referee Benji Estevez, who introduced me to Kenny, Kenny's making sure every table has drinks in their hand and is ready to go dance and do something.
Fantastic. The first time I saw him was on a ShoBox card, and I saw him moonwalk away from the two fighters after he broke them up, and I'm like, this is the reason to watch these fights. All right, and we are finally underway here. Manny takes the center of the ring. Thurman starts out sticking a jab out there, starting to back Manny into a corner. Manny circles out. He's working that jab.
This is definitely going to be a feeling out round between these two. They're going to each look to establish center control. Manny for his ability to make those lined darting attacks. Keith to try to keep Manny off of him and control the distance by just turning this into a point-fighting boxing match, not letting Manny get those angles inside.
I feel like Manny overcommitted there and looked like he lost his footing for a second. Not that Thurman was really able to take advantage of it, but looked kind of sloppy. Looked like I said, like he overcommitted.
Not uncommon for Manny at this stage of the game.
All right, Keith Thurman lights him up with a couple of hooks there. Looks like it was one of the body, one of the head, and another one with the opposite hand of the body.
I will say they both look in very good condition.
We'll see how the fight progresses to see if they've both got the wind to go the distance at this stage of the game. Manny's starting to settle down now instead of zipping all over the ring. A lot of fingers.
I wouldn't count on that lasting long.
Keith Thurman's got him into the ropes there. Manny's starting to fight his way out. And they are trading in the center of the ring now. Not a lot of landed shots, though.
Yeah, and this isn't the game I want to play if I'm Keith Thurman. I don't want to give Manny any unnecessary chances.
You have more feinting here. Again, sort of half-committed throws here, like you said, a lot of feeling it up. Keith Thurman just looks like he landed a good right to the forehead of Manny Pacquiao.
And that's a punch he needs to work in. He needs to use that jab to blind Manny, distract him, touch him, and just figure that range out and keep that right hand pumping behind him.
Oh, big time hook from Thurman. Looks like it rocked Manny for a bit. He collided into the ropes there, covered up a bit. Now he started. Oh, Jesus Christ! Yeah, Manny Pacquiao lands a straight right, knocks Thurman on his tushy.
Which again, we talked about. Don't give him unnecessary chances. What do? You close distance. You get in tight with him. That's how Manny strikes.
And yeah, we've got ourselves a little bit of a firefight here. Manny comes storming across the ring, starts throwing leather right in Thurman's face. All right, and that is the end of round 1. 10-8 round for Manny Pacquiao, wouldn't you say?
Have to by scoring standards.
He doesn't get that knockdown. Do you think we keep it at a 10-9 for Pacquiao or for Thurman? Because there was I don't know.
I think without the knockdown, I thought Thurman actually did better work.
See, I agree with you. I actually thought Thurman scored more on Manny than Manny did. Manny got that one touch. Yeah, right there in the jaw. That's to show the replay, and down went Thurman.
Just a long right hook where Thurman pulled his hands down and pulled straight back.
Yeah, he got him on the jaw there, and his legs went right out from under him. That wasn't a push or anything else like that. He legit got knocked down.
Now, it'll be interesting to see if Thurman's able to stay disciplined after this and continue boxing effectively the way he did versus jumping in and trying to answer immediately because he feels he's behind on the cards now.
All right. So, folks, if you're listening at home, Pat and I are watching 2 different feeds of the fight, so we might be a little off with what each other sees, but we'll try to keep it all on the same page for you. As we see in round 2 here, once again, both fighters take the center of the ring. We're working jabs. We're doing some work. We're looking for a way in on both sides.
Which, again, we're going to see. What does he have to answer here?
Manny Pacquiao goes with 2 to the body. Well, he is definitely poking holes in Thurman's defense here. He is scoring some hits. If Thurman's,
and how is he doing it, Mark? Changing those angles every time.
Yeah, his upper body is very active. He's changing his positioning. He's changing his stance. He keeps Thurman guessing. Thurman seems a little flat. I'm not gonna lie. He seems a little less dynamic than Manny is currently.
He's very lackadaisical right now, and I think part of that is because he's trying not to get into the firefight with Manny.
I don't think I like Thurman's stance. He's standing very wide. He's giving Manny a lot to hit.
Well, what he's looking to do is generate power off of his right hand, and that's fine, but he's got to also be able to use that defensively, and he's not. He's just allowing Manny to take these angles, attack, and not really have strong repercussions in place.
I was showing Jonas recently, the proper stance in boxing, and I was trying to explain to him that if you stand wide, you're going to give your opponent more to hit. If you stand thin, there's less to hit there, and your power comes from the shift in your shoulders and your waist, not from you just throwing arm punches. Of course, he's 5, and I don't know how much of that stuck.
It might have gone over his head.
It might have.
I think Thurman has been doing a lot of feinting, but not a lot to really make Manny bite on any of it. And Manny's been able to throw some effective counter punches to him.
Yeah. As we are in the last 30 seconds here of round 2, I think I'm going to have to give another one to Manny Pacquiao. He's working harder. He's scoring. He's scoring more.
Now, what Thurman's got to watch for, and we saw here, Manny does that little awkward side dip and pokes with his left hand, and exits to his right, Thurman can take advantage of that. It's not a devastating punch. It's just there to keep him honest. If Thurman steps with Manny, he can catch him with another hook like he did in the first round and shake him up a little bit.
So Thurman dove back, evading Manny's power punches, bounced off the ropes, and tried to counter. Unfortunately, he missed with both punches, and then there was a bit of an exchange in the middle right before the end of round 2.
Yeah, and what I don't like about that scenario is he's giving ground away. If you give ground to Manny Pacquiao, you give him control of his range of attack, which is essentially unlimited the way he uses those angles. He doesn't care about throwing himself off balance or putting himself in a bad position because he's still going to be attacking, and if you're passive, you're not going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, you don't want to swing wild with Manny Pacquiao because he's going to find his way inside, and that's where those... I mean, the man still has power. I understand he hasn't knocked anybody out in a real long time, but I mean, if he touches you with one of those power punches, as we saw in the first round, he will knock your legs out from under you.
Yeah, it's a situation where he's not the one-punch guy he used to be, but he still hits hard enough to hurt you. So don't give him that out.
I think Thurman needs to take a more technical approach here and not go roadhouse with this guy. Stay in close. Don't take some of that power away from Manny Pacquiao. Don't let him wind up on you.
Well, see, I wouldn't stay close to him. I would still try to establish that jab and control distance. What Thurman's not doing is he's not jabbing enough. Mm-hmm. And when he does jab, there's nothing behind it right now.
Looks like Manny Pacquiao bent over right into a punch that looked like it was going for the body, and it just timed it really well. All right.
And that's those unorthodox angles Manny takes. They can put him in trouble.
So Thurman fired off a series of left jabs there. They were all blocked by Manny Pacquiao, just kind of pawing at Manny's lead right.
And that's the wrong approach. You need a stiff jab. You need something to make Manny take a backward step.
Not sure if Manny got all that last right there. Thurman goes to the body. We see a series of... He's looking for a way inside there. He's going after Manny's head. Manny covers up real well, though. Good defense.
Keith Thurman is not committing on a lot of his punches, and maybe that's because he feels he can maintain a better pace later, but it's also not discouraging Manny Pacquiao from attacking.
We are in our last minute here of round 3.
And thus far, the best punch I've seen still this round was that snappy right hand up top from Manny.
Thurman is punching consistently into Manny's defense. Lots of hits to the forearms and to the gloves. Nothing really touching Manny in the body or the face.
And I understand that if you feel that you can wear him down and you're cutting this consistent pace. But Thurman has not done that. Thurman has not worked nearly as hard as he should be working if he's trying to tire Manny Pacquiao out. He's landed less body punches than Manny Pacquiao has, and he's not...
We see a still with me?
Yes.
Okay. Yep, so we saw an exchange there, and they tie it up. Gosh, I watched a fight earlier on the white reviews card where these guys, I think all these two guys did was hug each other for almost the entire fight. It's pretty awful looking.
And, Thurman is content to sit back, wait, and try and counterpunch. You can get away with that if you're an expert. You can get away with that if you're Floyd Mayweather, if you're Juan Manuel Marquez. He's not either of those guys when it comes to defensive style counterpunching. He's an offensive guy. He's going to work behind a jab and throw combinations, load up and throw some power shots. He's fighting a fight that he's seen beat Manny, but it's not one that he fights well.
I'm wondering if he thinks that the strategy here is to sort of lay low, don't overcommit, in the first half of the fight, take Manny into deep waters because he's older, and he might start to fall apart as the fight moves into the championship rounds, and that's where he can really press his advantage.
Which I would understand, Mark, but again, you have to do something besides make him work. You still have to hit him. You still have to do something to make that fight turn in that direction, and he's not doing that. Manny's not going to get tired if you give him free rein to attack. He's too smart. He's been around too long to punch himself out without any kind of offense coming back at him, especially when it's not coming to his body. Our unofficial scorecards, I'd say we have Manny up 3-0, both of us, with the extra point for the knockdown in round 1.
Absolutely. Manny comes out very aggressive in round 4 here. He punched Keith Thurman all the way across the ring. Now Thurman's trying to do some work, but Manny just shrugs him off and is able to circle away from him. He's covering up. He's taking some punches from Thurman. He's making Thurman chase him.
And the way the fight's playing out would not surprise me if Thurman had a little bit of a gas issue late in the fight. Manny actually started this round with some very good body work.
Yep, there it is. More shots to the body, and then he goes to the head. So that's what I like about Manny in this fight. Is that he's trying to take Thurman's lungs. He's trying to take, he's working that body, and he's going body to the head, and he's keeping Thurman guessing.
Yeah, he's mixed up his attack very well, and he's actually been able, on the inside, to take a lot of the steam off of Thurman's punches when they've come back at him, just by rolling with them. He hasn't really absorbed a full flush shot from Keith Thurman on the inside, and he's been able to control most of that action.
I like the uppercut there from Keith Thurman. Manny came out swinging after that. Created a lot of wind, not a lot of hits. I have to say, something positive about Keith Thurman this round. He has done a really good job of slipping those punches, doing a lot of evasion. He's making Manny, Manny is sort of committing on some of these. Okay, they gave Thurman the last round.
Yeah, of course they did.
On the Fox unofficial scorecard. Manny's committing on a lot of these power punches. I think he's trying to end his night early here, and Thurman is doing a really good job of making Manny miss him.
He has, but the problem is, one, he's not returning fire, and two, a lot of the shots he's coming back with, he's throwing arm punches or he's throwing off the back foot. Keith one-time Thurman looks to be a thing of the past here. He's not sitting down on those punches. He's not really trying to hurt Manny or establish any kind of respect.
No, and I think in turn, Manny's just like, well, when I have my druthers, I'm going to hit you with everything I've got.
And there was a point in this round, as the fourth round came to a close, where they were in the center of the ring, and Manny just literally picked where he wanted to throw, sidestep, picked again, and Thurman had no answer for him.
Look at that. Manny just walked through a punch straight to the forehead, like it was nothing, like he was throwing feathers.
Because he is. He's throwing arm punches. He's not putting his weight into them. He's trying to score points, and it's not going to beat Manny Pacquiao.
So, I don't know much about the psyche of Keith Thurman, but I think if he continues to take punishment like this mentally, he could break before this is all said and done. I mean, he walked away out of that fourth round pretty dejected looking.
It's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to be wake-up call time, and we're going to see the best he has to offer starting now, or he's going to continue to plod and throw arm punches and not commit to anything and not really respect Manny or try to win this fight.
We begin round 5 of 12 here. And, yeah, so far, I don't know how they gave round 3 to Thurman. I would give... So far, I've got it 4-0 Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, again, with the extra point for the knockdown in round 1.
Absolutely.
And I go back to that fourth round exchange in the center where Manny just picked angle, and Thurman didn't answer. He just covered up.
If Thurman is not careful, he's going to end up losing this fight 250-0 to Canelo.
I thought that already happened.
We love our running gags here on the Rad Legend Broadcasting Network.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and Canelo by decision.
All right, see, Thurman's starting to come alive here a little bit. He's oh, look at that. He had a hard right there on Manny Pacquiao, made Manny Pacquiao's neck snap. Manny Pacquiao's covering up. He's still in it. He's not really making Thurman chase him right now. He's staying in the pocket with him.
Well, and again, Thurman lands his best stuff from the outside. His problem is he advances in, and Manny's able to see the shots coming better and deflect a lot of them. You gotta stay away from that. Keep the end of that jab out. Keep the right hand at the end. That's where you gotta catch Manny, where he can't catch you back.
See, look at that now. We're starting to see some shuffle in Thurman's step. He's looking a little bit more dynamic, less flat than he did in the first 4 rounds.
You know, again, I want to see less of him laying on Manny on the ropes, more of him keeping him at a jab distance along the ropes and firing in from the outside, controlling him, and sidestep to cut him off. Don't let Manny have those exit routes.
We are fighting in the center of the ring here. Thurman is really relying on that left hook. He likes that punch. He thinks he's gonna find a home for it somewhere in Manny's head and body.
Well, the way to beat a southpaw is a good left hook, because that left hook will push them into the range of your right hand and take them out of their optimal punching range. So you use that left hook almost as a positioning punch to move them off that line, and that's how Thurman's able to come around every so often with a right hand. I wish he'd put a little more on that right hand, but at least he's starting to land with a little bit more frequency. Because again, in center ring, he's not able to land cleanly on Manny very often.
Manny threw that right there, but it was awkward, and his feet, I think, got caught up, and he wasn't positioned very well. I didn't like it.
No, but that's what Manny's done his whole career. It's just now at age 40 with his athleticism, you know, I'm not going to say it's gone or it's shot, but it's not what it was when he was 30. And those things, he doesn't catch up as quickly with them as he used to.
All right, and we have a treat here, ladies and gentlemen, coming in from his UFC...
The Riviera Hotel and Casino in Los
Coming to you live, 418.com. You come off MMA coverage for the evening on ESPN. Ladies and gentlemen, he'll grab you in the kittens. It's Robert Winfree. How you doing, pal?
Yeah.
Hey, look, Robert Winfree. It's Deontay Wilder on the analysis desk.
That man has no... I don't even know the word.
Great group.
He brings nothing to that role other than crappy faux gold chains.
It's
You're
like
the heavyweight champion of the world. At least they could be real gold.
So
it's like watching Ahmed Johnson all over again.
So Pat, I think we can. You think we can give that last round there, that 5th round, to Keith Thurman? I
think that can go either way. I think Manny closed very strong and did more damage to Keith. It looks like he might have broken Keith's nose at the end of that round, too. I could see an argument for Keith Thurman there. I honestly gave the round to Manny Pacquiao based on the last minute of the round being very much controlled by him, and I thought he did the most effective work of the round.
Okay. We are in the 6th round here. We're halfway through the championship fight for the WBA welterweight title as we see the fighters take center stage. Robert, you're just now joining us. Really quick, 50 words or less, how was your UFC coverage this evening?
There were a total of 10 decisions on that card out of 13 fights. The first 9 went the distance, and only one of them was any good.
If I hadn't asked you to come on this broadcast, would you have shoved your head in the oven?
I have an electric oven. I do it all the time anyway, and just lament that it's not a gas.
So, who do you like in this one, Robert? We've heard Pat's analysis. We've talked about what each man needs to do for the fight. If you can just give me 50 words here, who do you like, Keith Thurman or Manny Pacquiao for this welterweight belt?
Coming into the fight, I was kind of feeling Thurman, despite some of his inactivity and some of the issues he had in his last fight. Pacquiao's just been a little bit shop-worn over his last couple of fights. Even the ones he's won, he hasn't really looked all that great. So I thought Thurman had a pretty good chance. Probably would have picked Pacquiao if you put a gun to my head, but I kind of had one of those gut feelings about Thurman. After the first 3 rounds, it looks like Pacquiao has him figured out already.
I don't know if you saw it, but round 1 opened up with Pacquiao knocking Thurman on his ass.
I did see the lunging right hook knockdown, yeah.
All right. So as we proceed here, Manny Pacquiao has the lead in total punches thrown, 342 to 254.
It seems like Manny Pacquiao's doing a bit of his old kind of standby as his career advanced through both time and more rigorous drug testing. He started adopting more of a win the last minute of every round and hope that that's all the judges remember.
Well, that was the discussion Pat and I were having as we were bringing you in. Was I thought that Thurman had worked harder for 2/3 of round 5, and then Manny Pacquiao came alive in that last round, and there's where we were split, because I gave that round to Keith Thurman, and he gave it to Pacquiao.
If Pacquiao hadn't done as much damage as he had, I probably would agree with you giving it to Thurman, but a lot of what he did was so effective over that last 60 seconds or so that I think he did enough to kind of counteract what Thurman did before it.
Round 6, Pat, how do you see it?
Well, I'm really mystified by the fact that Thurman had plenty of offensive opportunities and took advantage of maybe 1 out of every 4 or 5 he saw. And when he did, he didn't commit fully. He's throwing these arm punches again, and that's why I really have a hard time scoring for him when I know the punches that Manny's throwing are damaging punches. The punches Thurman is throwing are landing flush, but they're not hurting Manny. He's able to walk through them, bounce, and come right forward. So I'm still giving the edge to Manny Pacquiao at this point.
All right, realistically, then, unless Keith Thurman either knocks out Manny Pacquiao or really starts to come alive and wins every round, he has lost the title in this fight going forward. Conceivably, there's no way Keith Thurman's going into round 8 here with a lead in rounds.
No, especially not with a 10-8.
Not a chance.
There's no way he's ahead.
All right.
So
Lucky couldn't give that for. I mean, look, we all know it's Canelo that's actually winning the decision, but yeah, there's no way Thurman's ahead.
Go ahead and mark your bingo cards, everybody. Thurman comes out with Fist of Fire in round 8. Round
7.
It's round 7. I was off by a round. He comes out just firing at Manny Pacquiao, backing him right into the ropes. I said he's starting to look more dynamic with each round than when he started. He started off very flat here, but he's not doing enough for Pat. Pat's not liking his lack of aggression here, his lack of ability to take advantage of opportunities.
A lot of it's also in his feet.
I don't like the slappy punches.
He's not really. You can see in any of these exchanges, even if he throws 5 or 6 punches, he's only really committing his weight to about the last 2.
Well, he nailed Manny Pacquiao there with a right hook. And Manny Pacquiao shook it off and said, you ain't so bad.
Because you just had to have a Rocky reference.
Well,
But that's the problem. Manny has a decent chin, but we've seen him knocked out cold by guys who are, lesser punchers than what would be a full-fledged welterweight puncher. And he's walking through these without a problem. That tells me that Keith Thurman is not committing.
He took another one.
Or Thurman's just really not a puncher. And I would be shocked if that were the case.
They took a hard right to the nose just now. And again, it looked like, I won't go as far as say it looked like it hurt him, but it definitely got his attention.
I think Thurman's simply winning this round based on Manny's lack of action.
Yeah,
I think Thurman's much more active this round.
Yeah, Manny is definitely slowing down now. We're starting to see the fight catch up with him, which is what I had said from the beginning. Thurman's strategy might have been to sort of give up a few rounds in the beginning, sort of coast into the middle of the fight, and hope Manny Pacquiao starts running out of gas.
Well, Pacquiao is definitely slowing, and Thurman's starting to find more success here. Again, I think if he'd really actually commit his weight a little bit to some of these punches, he'd have a lot more success. He's finding there's a pretty decent right straight into a left hook. He's finding success, but something about his mechanics is off, and it's actually diminishing his own offense and is really keeping Pacquiao around in this fight more than he should be as this continues.
Yeah,
Well,
I haven't loved Pacquiao's footwork in this. Go ahead, Pat.
Well, Thurman's also crouching down a lot of the time when he wants to set himself to punch, and he's giving up his height when he does that. So you give Manny an advantage because, one, he knows when you're crouching down, you're coming to attack. You have to mix it up, and Thurman did land a good left hook at about the 30-second mark of this round. But, you're also letting him know stuff is coming. Manny's able to brace himself and get out of the way or counter it. And
Nice uppercut from Pacquiao.
yeah, that was a beautiful punch inside. And Thurman with a good right hand follow at the end of the round. Now we're seeing a little bit of toe to toe, and I don't think. And Thurman that time did the right thing. He backed out of it, tried to reestablish his jab.
Wasn't a man, and maybe I've got the name wrong here, but wasn't it something along like Marquez, who in their last fight, their fourth one, knocked out Pacquiao, really just nailed him on the button?
Yes, there's Juan Manuel Marquez.
Come on,
That was a scary knockout. He hit him, and he did like the flare flop, man. He just kind of he got hit so hard he actually like stood still in place and then fell forward.
That is the flare flop, yes. Well, we've talked about this with other fights. That sometimes once your button gets pushed, it's hard to stay on your feet if you get too hard in the same place again.
Yeah, good round for Thurman there. Again, he's probably going to need at least another like big round if he really wants to feel confident in decision. But
the unofficial scorecards have it 67-65 with the last two rounds going to Thurman, and the only thing I disagree with is round 3 because I feel like Pacquiao pretty much had it all the way through round 5, and then the last two I would definitely give to Thurman.
Yeah, the third round was a little bit contentious on the broadcast, I seem to recall, about who gave it to who. Lennox Lewis gave it to Pacquiao. I think the unofficial score guy gave it to Thurman because of the early body work. Pacquiao might also be doing in order to kind of pace himself, know which rounds to take off and which rounds to really come ahead, because the reality is you don't have to win every round. You don't have to.
Now we're seeing that come into play with the pot shotting.
I mean, yeah, you don't even have to win every minute of every round. If your goal is to win, this is they showed him in the crowd earlier. Like the best thing Floyd Mayweather did, and again, if you want, we can talk about his individual skill, but he understood the basic philosophy of all I have to do is win 7 of 12 rounds.
Right.
And all I have to do to win a round is land one more punch than you. That's it.
He was a very economical fighter, which sometimes did not make for the most interesting fights.
Bit of a low blow from Thurman there.
Well, it was a bit of a firefight on the ropes there. Pacquiao putting in some work trying to take back this round.
Yeah, I think he knows how many rounds he had coming into this point, and at this point he's kind of he's managing his risk, he's managing his cardio, he's going to fight he's going to try to win enough rounds to make sure he feels confident going to the judges. But I don't think we're going to see he's not going to try to win every round. I mean, trying to win every round for the sake of winning every round tends to lead to foolishness. I mean, there's not a lot of fighters who really try that. Especially in this position.
There's times where I saw Thurman maybe land a counter punch in this fight, and then instead of engaging in the firefight, back out. This round, he was backed out of the firefight by the offense of Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah, Pacquiao really wanted to make sure he was the one landing the last punch in every exchange, and that seemed to put Thurman off a bit.
Well, the last part of that round, in the last 10 seconds, Keith Thurman hit him twice in the chin, and then the round ended. It's a tough one to call, I think, because I liked Pacquiao in that round right up until the very end there.
I think I'd give it to Pacquiao, a bit of an edge. I mean, I don't think you'd be too far out of line going 10-10 on that one either.
All right, the upcoming PBC schedule here on Fox, we've got Adam Kanaki versus Chris Arreola and Brandon Figueroa versus Javier Nicolas Chacon. What do you think, Pat? Huh?
Swipe left.
Swipe left. We're going to find another fight for you yet, Pat. God damn.
No,
Yeah, good luck with that.
You'll offer us the next fight featuring Deontay Wilder or something else stupid like that, and he'll just go.
We see young Errol Spence Jr. at ringside, arguably the second or third best welterweight in the world behind Terrence Crawford.
Oh, okay. It's a shame he and Crawford just won't ever seem to sign the papers to fight each other.
There's always hope, Robert.
Yeah, hope's a fool's errand.
All right, and we are ever so closer to the end of this fight, round 9.
You might get Pat for the next Lomachenko fight, but short of that, probably not.
I want Pat and I to cover the next Carl Frampton fight just so I can utter the line Frampton comes alive.
Frampton's a good fighter, but he had a bad outing his last time out. It's a shame.
Plus, that'll be awkward when he dies in the ring.
We'll talk about that at a future date here. We have to figure out where to selectively use Pat so Pat doesn't throw himself off the place he's living in Brooklyn.
It's not really that far off.
The Rattlegion Broadcasting Network, at least half of us are suicidal. All right.
I laugh because if I don't, I will. I have more than enough sharp implements around me. Boy, Thurman wants this round back, man. He was not happy about that last round, it looks like.
No, but the problem is he needs to stay on this aggressive note and fight. He needs to not throw on punches, load up on shots, throw good heavy combinations, make Manny respect you, and stay out of firing range.
According to the stats, Thurman has the lead by a large margin in power punches landed.
Yeah, define landed.
And define power.
Well, I mean, I'm going off the stats that they're displaying here in the broadcast. We've got a 143 to 133 landed punches in favor of Thurman, according to whatever stats they're using.
Yeah, I would take issue with both landed and power as far as how they're defining that. I mean, they're probably doing the old power punches anything other than a jab routine.
Well, isn't CompuBox still a thing?
Probably.
That's what they're using.
Nice evasion there from Keith Thurman.
Thurman's slipping and countering a lot better this round. I don't know if he just finally got a bit of Manny's timing down, but he's cooking.
Yeah, no, this is not a guy you want to sit there and absorb punches with. You want to make Manny miss you. You want to look for those openings. And again, Manny's footwork has been so awkward. And oh, look at that. Manny's starting to slow down now, and he's taking some big punches from Keith Thurman.
And I question how much more effective Thurman would be right now had he fought at least one or two more rounds early like this.
Oh, don't tie up with him, Thurman. Come on. At this stage of the game, you really don't want to be having Pacquiao carry you around the ring. You need to be working. You need to be winning rounds. This is the one downside to doing commentary with you guys is I don't get to hear the beautiful utterances of Deontay Wilder.
Ugh.
Great Google and Moogle.
He kind of reminds.
Please tell me that's what he's actually said at some point on the analyst desk.
I'm waiting to say my Puerto Rican wife got fat. That's a Family Guy reference, everyone.
Wouldn't know it.
If you say so.
Who's the guy in the middle that looks like a young Mel Brooks?
Mel Brooks was never young.
Yeah, I have a hard time picturing a young Mel Brooks. But
dude came out of the womb looking 50.
Let's see who Mark's making reference to here as young Mel Brooks. That's Ray Mancini, Mark.
Ah, terrific.
Really, Mark? How dare you not know? How dare you not know Boom Boom?
It's been a while since I've seen Sir Boom Boom.
He literally killed a man in the ring. What have you done?
He literally made terrible B movies. What have you done?
Also true.
Reviewed terrible movies, mostly with Robert.
I have a terrible B movie of his on DVD that is a remake of the classic Body and Soul, starring him, Michael Chiklis, Joe Mantegna, and Jennifer Beals.
We have a
Sign me up.
We have a B movie slated for later this year, the one starring Gene Simmons that you pitched me.
Never Too Young to Die?
That's the one.
Oh, what a fantastic cast that has. Gene Simmons, John Stamos, Robert Englund, Vanity, George Lazenby.
That is a stellar cast, my friend. Good selection.
Ooh, Thurman is not playing around, man.
He came out throwing some fire.
He's finally putting his weight behind these a little bit more now, too. You can see the way he's settling his footwork. I'm still not in love with that crouch he's doing, but...
The unofficial scorecard has it 86-84 with the last round going to Thurman, as they've traded the last few.
I have it 6-3 for Manny Pacquiao. I have it 87-84.
I think I'd be... Oh, I wouldn't quite be where Pat is. But Thurman is... I think I gave Thurman one more round than Pat did, but... Yeah, Thurman is really starting to come along.
87-83 for the knockdown points. My mistake, folks.
Yeah,
that knockdown is gonna be that's gonna screw with some stuff.
Yeah, he needs to get the. He's making Manny. Oh Jesus, he was making Manny chase him, and Manny got him right in the gut.
Yeah, he's starting to get lackadaisical defensively and relying on distance for that instead of hand positioning.
Not a mistake you should make.
And it almost looks as though Thurman may have punched himself out a little bit.
Well, he came really hard over those. He's put some really hard minutes in over the last couple of rounds.
He has, but now's not the time to be running away from Pacquiao. He's going to run away right from his belt.
In the championship rounds, no less, as you see him switch to southpaw to try to combat Manny. Usually, that's a sign that he's looking for answers that he doesn't have.
Ooh, that body shot really did hurt him. He's lucky he didn't go down.
Yeah, I think he tried to say it was low. I don't know that it was low.
It wasn't.
I'm wondering if he's got a bruised lower rib or a cracked rib, and so that's part of the problem here. That he's a bit tender now.
He's got a left hand under his rib cage that ripped into him is the problem.
He's got punched really, really hard in the guts. That'll do it. Yeah, his whole defensive posture has changed entirely now.
And this is very favorable to Manny because he's using the Adrian Broner defensive posture where you hold your hands in place and lean and you don't move your head. And Manny was able to pick that apart last time he saw that.
Ooh,
now Thurman's fighting back a little bit.
Yeah, he seems to have got his ribs back under him a little bit.
But Manny's going to put that theory to test with some left hands and an uppercut upstairs.
Oh, God. Yeah, he's biting on the feints. Every time Manny even feints to the body, his entire defense drops to cover his ribs.
Yeah, that tells me he's hurt. He's hurt in the body, and he is now trying to protect himself as best he can. So I've got it where the round is over. He's in the corner. He's getting some medical attention. They're working on some of those cuts there. He's looking anxious. And
the right hands he threw were non-committal. He was very afraid to take that right hand away from his body.
And watch him walk. I don't know if they'll show it on replay, but watch him walk back to his corner. As soon as possible, he gets that mouthpiece half out of his mouth. Never a good sign.
Yeah, he's having a hard time breathing, which tells me he's got a cracked rib.
Or the connective tissues bruised, possible minor dislocation. There's all kinds of things you can do to the floating ribs that are just really unpleasant.
All right. I would definitely give that round to Pacquiao. I think that goes without saying. And we are in the 11th round.
My unofficial scorecard is 97-92 Manny Pacquiao. And let's see the replay again just before this round starts. Ooh. Dug a beautiful left hand into the rib cage.
Right to the liver, man. Right there to that little bit that sticks out under your ribs. Thurman's hurting immediately. He took his own mouthpiece out.
Yeah.
like in the middle of the fight. Just put it back in.
Well, I think the attempt was to run out of the ring at that point, and then he remembered, oh, wait, I can't. So this round he's a bit more composed. He's, I don't see him quite covering up like he was before, trying to protect his ribs. I think but I'm not sure what he's doing at this point.
He's throwing a lot of arm punches, trying to get Manny just to back off him.
Yeah, he's back to that non-committal quasi blend of offense and defense that's not actually going to get Manny to back off. Either really commit to your defense and give up significant portions of this round making him miss, or commit to your offensive counters and get him to respect you and back off. But
I was going to say,
the
Manny,
half measure is a bad idea.
Psychologically, Manny has not shown himself to, he's shown himself to be able to absorb a lot of these arm punches. Again. And, he walks through them and goes right after Keith Thurman. That's been the story of this fight for me, is Manny not respecting Thurman's power, walking straight through it, and nailing him with some pretty hard punches.
Because he hasn't been given a reason to not respect his power. He hasn't been hit with anything solid on a frequent basis that's going to make him say, I can't afford to take these chances against this guy.
No, even coming forward, Thurman's not putting his weight behind this. You can look at his punching mechanics, and they're not good. I mean, Deontay Wilder thinks he's the best technical boxer he's seen, but...
Shote! Right, Pat?
And we saw a lot of those from Thurman in his last fight.
We are down to almost 30 seconds here in the 11th round. And Thurman is trying to make some hash out of this fight with Pacquiao, but Pacquiao's just laughing it off.
Well, Pacquiao hit him to the body earlier in the round again, and while not as bad as the previous round, you definitely saw the reaction out of him.
You see Thurman landing the occasional punch here, and it looks like it's a punch that should hurt or should drop Manny or back him off, and it doesn't do anything because there's no weight behind it. And Manny with a good little right uppercut lead, sneaky punch. Oh, wait, that's racist because he's Asian.
Mark,
I hate our culture so much.
Mark your bingo cards, everybody. As we see the replays here from round 11, Manny took another big right to the face and just kind of waved it off.
I don't know what. Again, like some of it's his weight not being properly distributed. I wonder if some of it's distance. Like he's not getting to him really hard with the knuckles as much as the glove.
Well, and again, too, it's, how is he throwing? He's throwing arm punches. So even if he lands that flush in perfect distance where you want to have that 18-inch distance or travel time, it's not going to do what it's supposed to do.
We are in the last round here. All right, Pat, let me throw it to you. At this point, I think we've all agreed that Manny Pacquiao has won this thing on points. What does Thurman have to do to get a knockout?
He needs to immediately get out there and assert his power. He has to, one, back Manny up, and when he does back him up, he can't engage on the inside. Keep him against the ropes at the edge of your jab and come back with a sneak right hand over the top after you preoccupy him with body shots, then follow with your left hook. That's your best combination. Get him biting to the body, come up hard straight right hand, left hook behind it, and then you've got a shot. But you have to commit to those punches, and you have to get Manny in position to land those punches.
At that time, he rushed him against the ropes, but instead of really pressing his advantage, he just sort of backed off of him.
That's because he's been made to be afraid of the counterpunching.
So Thurman just came really wide. Like his arms looked like he was about ready to take flight there, and Manny nailed him right in the face. He stayed on his feet, but it did not look good for Thurman. Where I think he
don't flare your elbows, people.
I'm surprised Manny didn't kill him with another body shot when he did that.
Yeah.
He was in really close when he did it. It's not like Manny had a whole lot of room to sort of analyze the situation and go, oh, wait a minute, you've left your body completely open. It was a very quick thing. But it looked really bad and really awkward.
That's going to be like the title of Keith Thurman's autobiography.
Really bad and really awkward.
Shockingly bad and mysteriously awkward.
There we go.
So Manny Pacquiao was bullying him in the corner, kind of let him out, got him to the center of the ring again, and it's just
picking his shots, lighting him up.
yeah, not really.
He's pot-shotting him largely.
And Pacquiao's not going to take a giant risk here. It
No,
doesn't serve his purposes.
No, he knows he's up on the cards. At this point, he's not going to try for a 12th round knockout. He's got 3 minutes to work here and solidify his victory. I don't think you're going to see anything crazy out of Manny Pacquiao, but Thurman is wasting a lot of time in there. This was early round stuff, early fight stuff.
Well, like we talked about earlier, Thurman may have been planning on Manny to slow down and run out of gas, but that's not going to happen if it's never happened before, especially when you don't do any extra work to make it happen. He was reliant on Manny just not pacing himself properly, and that didn't happen. And as a result, Thurman's had to pull himself out from behind a lot, and it's much more difficult to fight from behind than it is with a lead. He's had good rounds here and there, and he's had good moments, but largely it's been based around, one, Manny being inactive in those instances,
right,
and two, him putting out everything he had late in the fight, and he's not going to catch his second wind off of that.
Yeah, we're down to 10 seconds here, and I did not see a sense of urgency in this round. And when you get to the B side of these fights, if you know that you're down on the scorecards, that's where urgency really has to rear its head. And Manny just punched him in the back of the head to end the fight.
Why not?
And I will pick Keith Thurman by split decision.
Because
the world is terrible.
Yes.
The world is a terrible place.
The world is a vampire.
Yeah, this gets brought up on occasion when we talk about fighters with questionable gas tanks or who have a habit of pacing themselves a certain way. If you want to capitalize on that, you can't just rely on their mere existence being enough to drain their gas tank. If you're dealing with a fighter that is a little bit suspect in terms of their pacing, in terms of how they do over the distance of a full fight, you can't just go, well, this fighter has a questionable gas tank. If all I do is just kind of coast around, they'll get tired. Like, that barely works on people who weigh 270 pounds. It's certainly not going to work on anyone, further south of that as far as weight classes go. You have to actually work to exploit it. And if you're counting on Manny to really gas out, that's not really a plan you should have as a plan A if you're not really going to push the pace.
So two things.
Sure, he lulls, but he doesn't gas.
So two things. One, Manny Pacquiao looks like he already knows he won the fight. Keith Thurman, looks like he knows he lost the fight, though we haven't gotten the official decision here yet. And for the love of Christ, people, who is directing the shots on this? Get the boom mic out of the shot.
Mark, they know it's a real sports production. It's okay to have the boom there.
No, it isn't. Where is the aesthetic?
Okay.
Where's the magic?
Look, the aesthetic for the close of a boxing match is everybody and their dog jumps in the ring.
Speaking of which, I know you guys like to shit all over the DAZN's production. And
Wait, do I?
It's terrible.
And I'm like, oh, it's not as bad as you guys are making it out to be. All right, today I was very frustrated with the card at the O2 Arena. Aside from the fact that it was commentated on by Waldorf and Statler, the British version, who often said of many of the fights, this is terrible, why are we watching it? And the one guy in one fight said, I don't even know why I haven't been scoring this fight because why bother? Which was the
okay, he's my new favorite commentator ever.
It was the line of the night.
It's a great line in some cases. For those of us who like candor, but
they kept interviewing the fighters out of breath and sitting. And I said, there should be some degree of pageantry to this. Please, please wait for these guys to catch their breath and get them standing and looking like champions, not sitting and looking like Kevin James.
Look, they also have just the general production, because DAZN doesn't actually have a production team. They kind of just rely on you to have whatever you have. So whenever you watch a boxing match from DAZN, like the ring is not mic'd very well. You can't really hear anything.
Well, this was a Sky Sports production, and I would have thought after all the years of doing pay-per-views in the UK that their production wouldn't be a pile of garbage, but I was not impressed.
Considering the card that they put on, they clearly did not bring out the big guns.
All right, have we gotten an official No one's gotten their hand raised. So everyone's still sort of meandering about the ring.
Again, this is the aesthetic of a post-fight boxing match.
Really can't wait to hear the scores here.
I'm genuinely waiting for one of the judges to, like, when they report the scorecards after the fact, for one of the judges to have actually written Canelo and had crossed it out. It's either
going to be a split draw or Keith Thurman by split decision.
I'm voting for split draw. I just want to go on the record as saying that.
Whatever will get the crowd to actually riot.
Mark,
that would require actual emotional investment.
As they're actually announcing the scores, please tell us to stop and turn it up so we can hear the scores.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put the volume up on this.
I can't wait.
All right, they just announced Manny Pacquiao is the winner.
Oh, well, that takes all the fun
decision. All right, split decision.
It was split?
Yeah.
That's so bad. Who the hell scores these?
Manny Pacquiao by split decision, everybody.
Oh my God, who scored that for Thurman? There's no reason that should have been scored for Thurman. At best, he got a draw. At absolute best.
I mean,
That's absolutely ridiculous.
I was joking about the draw just because boxing can be terrible. You know, like the best stuff is the actual fighting, but then when you get to the judges' scorecards, it all turns to a mockery.
These people are morons.
All right, let me jump on Twitter here and see if I can find the actual scores.
God, who scored that? It really was a split decision.
It really was a split decision.
That's so ridiculous. That is so ridiculous. Okay, wait. I have the scores here.
Oh, here we go.
Feldman scored at 114 to 113 for Thurman.
Glenn Feldman?
I believe so, yes.
He's a fucking idiot.
Moretti and
Dave Moretti sucks too.
And Cheatham both had 115 to 112 for Pacquiao.
That's still too close of a margin. Let's pull up some.
I was gonna say that's accounting the 10-8, and they had it that close within 3 points.
So that's a 7-5 score in terms of rounds. Let's pull up some notable Glenn Feldman scorecards for the hell of it.
Please.
Canelo over Daniel Jacobs.
That's spelled with one N or two.
Glenn, 2. Let's see, I'm looking for Canelo over Golovkin.
Probably twice.
Which we all know was horse shit.
Let's see, what else do we have him on? Give me some names here. Those are some notable ones offhand.
All right. So real quick, before we continue this, what's next for Pacquiao now that he's the WBA welterweight champion?
Nothing.
Well, they keep bringing up a rematch with Floyd Mayweather. I don't think they're ever going to match him with a Terrence Crawford because that will just not end well for him. And I don't think that's how they want to get him out. I'd be very shocked if you got in with Errol Spence as well. I think that's less of a risky fight, but it is one I could see him, taking and losing. For the record, Glenn Feldman also scored Andre Ward over Sergey Kovalev.
I'll piss on that. That is unjustifiable. You put this guy you put that moron on your judging panel so you can have a split decision to save some fighter's ego. That is ridiculous.
All right, folks. This has been another wonderful presentation of Rattledge and Broadcasting Alternative Commentary.
Hey, boxing judges do this to themselves.
What a piece of shit.
Oh, goodness gracious, great balls of fire. All right. So this week, and I'm going to see if we can do this without Pat having a conniption fit of some sort.
Yeah, good luck with that shit.
We had some wrestling coverage earlier in the week. We had 2 shows back-to-back. We had coverage of AEW Fight for the Fallen.
Ugh.
And we had that...
Goddamn outlaw fucking mud show.
You haven't seen an outlaw mud show like Game Changer Wrestling.
I'm pretty sure I have.
I want to do a marathon podcast of just nothing but Game Changer wrestling cards tonight.
I told you, my friend was the referee in the pool.
Yes, I saw him. We need to do more of these things. They are fabulous. Tonight was the Invisible Man presents Wombat. Somewhere in Tennessee.
Don't.
So yes, we did a compare and contrast of AEW's Fight for the Fallen with the Evolve Ran Out of Spite card brought to you by the WWE on the WWE Network. We did a separate show reviewing WWE Extreme Rules. We had source material Doom Patrol, where Chris Sheehan told you all the things about Doom Patrol. Myself, Jason Teasley, Alexis Hana, and Robert Winfrey reviewed Crawl, where we had a long, in-depth discussion of why nothing in that movie works the way that they say it does.
Not a single thing.
By the way, I don't think Alexis was expecting a serious answer as to why, if all the reviewers like this, are we tearing it to pieces. And then we told her exactly why, and she said, I'm going to stop asking questions.
Fair enough.
that was my impression, at least.
I'm too literal. You can't ask me a question like that and expect me to have a goofy answer. I'm going to tell you the truth.
Speaking of goofy answers, myself and Jesse Starcher reviewed the Texas Hippie Coalition, their new album, High in the Saddle. And then Jesse and I got together to discuss one of the best shows on a streaming service app that you can find, Doom Patrol Season 1, brought to you by DC Universe.
Absolutely not true.
Oh, it's
what
fantastic.
a horrendous piece of shit that show is.
It was fabulous.
No, it's terrible.
Monday, we've got Cloak and Dagger, Shades of Grey. Myself, Alexis Hana, and Robert Winfrey will be reviewing The Lion King. We might also take a few minutes and discuss the Marvel Comic-Con announcements that went on.
This is literally the worst session of plugs ever.
Wait until next time.
It's
only going downhill.
We might talk a little bit about the Marvel H announcements, the good, the bad, and the ever waste of time. Robert Winfrey will then join us on the Metal Hammer of Doom for Sabaton, The Great War. And then myself and Jesse will talk about Cloak and Dagger Season 2, brought to you by the good people at Freeform and ABC Television.
I don't know why you put Jesse through that. Jesse did nothing to you.
The following week... Jesus Christ. The following week we've got Robert Winfrey steps into the judge's role for DC Hanna-Barbera 3. We'll also have a slate of trailer reacts for you. All the trailers that were released this past weekend at Comic-Con. Myself, Ronnie Adams...
Hang on, wait. I need to confirm the timing on that. That will be... Is that the 21st or the 28th?
We're going to record time travel, folks. We're going to record those. We're going to record those before we record source material on the 22nd, which is the day after tomorrow.
Okay. Just wanted to be sure I wasn't losing my mind.
Yep.
I bought a really great T-shirt, and it's like a glam shot of Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, the Rockers.
And I've seen that.
And it says "Choose Life" underneath.
I finally bought my birthday presents. I got a Brock Party T-shirt and a Shock the System T-shirt. How about that?
I was super disappointed that the Brock Party T-shirt they had, like the hooded, the sleeveless hoodie one, it comes tapered at the waist, and I hate tapered waist hoodies.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
God, they're the worst.
We'll have a review of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood on July 30th. L7
Speaking of terrible.
L7 Scatter the Rats on the Metal Hammer of Doom. And then we'll have an on-trial for Jackie Brown on August 1st. That's all we got for the month of July.
Do that. I would gladly do that show were it not for Sean Comer.
I understand. So, in the month of August, Pat, we've got, we've got Michael Conlon versus Diego Alberto on ESPN Ruiz on ESPN Plus. Swipe left, got it. We've got Frampton Comes Alive versus Emmanuel Dominguez. Come on, Pat.
What is this?
That's Saturday, August 10th on ESPN Plus.
I hate to say it, but I probably can watch that.
Ooh, I'm penciling it in then.
Don't do it, Pat. Save yourself. You're a young man. You've got a lot to live for.
It's Carl Frampton. I really like Carl Frampton. I don't know.
All right.
Wow. For some reason, I completely confused Carl Frampton with Peter Frampton in my head for a minute there.
Wow, dude.
Well, apparently, do you feel like we do?
All right. So that's that'll be our boxing coverage for the month of August, because I feel like if I push it too far, Pat's just going to run away from me.
That's a good
He
point.
did. He moved west from where you used to think he was.
Though Erislandy Lara is taking on Ramon Alvarez on Fox on August 31st, which is the same night as All Out and UFC Takeover Cardiff. So never mind.
NXT Takeover Cardiff.
Yes, you and I will be doing coverage of that.
Damn, Skippy. I
At
gotta
some
watch
point
all
after
this
the
shit.
fact.
I at least get to do one show I'm looking forward to.
Absolutely.
That is that's how I get through life right now with Mark. Like, there's all this crap. I find one thing that I can loosely latch hope onto, and then he takes it away from me about a week and a half out. Like, hey, this is off the schedule in favor of other bullshit.
So, yeah, I mean, I wish we could do something for Holloway versus Edgar, because that's going to be glorious violence, but...
It's gonna be gloriously one-sided.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is not a competitive fight at this point.
Yeah, that's going to be a mugging, but, you have to do your written coverage, so we can't do commentary for it. All right.
Yep, sorry.
Guys, I'm really in a bind. I'm on TeePublic, and I'm looking for Luther Vandross t-shirts, and I only found one.
Pat, when are you guys... So the Casual Heroes made an announcement that they discovered Anchor, and we're going to try a third iteration of this ridiculous podcast. When are you guys doing your first recording?
Once they release Gambit.
Yes!
All right, folks. Stay tuned for D23 when they announce more movies, and when the Casual Heroes is finally going to record something. Robert, do your plugs.
Yeah, I might not be alive this time next week because, life sucks. You can check out
I
my
don't see
full...
anything wrong with what was said.
It's factually accurate. You can check out my full review of UFC on ESPN4 that I was wrapping up at the beginning of this event. It was a long event. Again, the first 9 fights went the distance, which is a record. Never before have the first 9 fights on a UFC card gone the distance. So we broke that. We tied the record for total decisions on a card at 10. There were 2 crappy heavyweight fights. 3 crappy heavyweight fights. There was an Arlovsky versus Rothwell fight that went the distance.
Oh, did it really? I can't believe you
Yes.
didn't have a stroke.
Wait, Ben Rothwell and Andrei Arlovsky?
11 years after their epic
Affliction.
confrontation at Affliction banned.
I remember that.
It was a terrible fight. But yeah, Arlovsky wins again, this time via decision. Juan Adams and Greg Hardy fought. Alexei Oleinik and Walt Harris fought. RDA and Leon Edwards had a pretty decent 5-round fight. Leon Edwards really has come into his own. I don't know how he does against, again, like the top 3 or so guys. I know RDA was ranked 3rd going into this, but that was, I don't believe, accurate. I don't know how he does it again. He called out Jorge Masvidal because Masvidal embarrassed him backstage after their when they were both on that card in Liverpool.
I'm assuming RDA won.
No.
Oh, he lost?
Leon Edwards
You
wins.
just said Leon Edwards beat him.
I wasn't listening.
That's okay. No one was
Now
watching.
you know how we feel.
So you can find my full report for all of that action, catch up on anything you missed, commiserate, laugh at me having to do it. I don't really care. You can find me hosting the 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast most Sundays. Last week was me flying solo. This week we'll be recording tomorrow. It should be me flying solo again, I believe, unless Mark changed his mind on a few things, because he said maybe he was going to be on that one, but I don't know.
Well, you've described this card. What the hell is there for me to talk about?
Well, we're also going to preview UFC 240.
That's the co-main event of that is Cyborg versus some broad, right?
Yes.
An undefeated broad who held the Invicta Featherweight Championship.
Also on that card, Jeff Neal and Nico Price is a surprisingly good fight for that level of welterweight. Okay, yeah, after that, it's just the Canadian contingent. I don't know what else to tell you. Actually, Olivier Aubin-Mercier and Armin Sarukian could have some really fun wrestling exchanges. Christoph Yatko will continue his downward trend because another promising guy who just couldn't quite live up to it. Hakeem Dawodu gets a can to beat.
I also found 2 really cool-looking Luthez t-shirts.
Nice.
Very good.
So anyway, there'll be a full preview of that card, breakdown, and then, of course, news from the week, including the announcement of, look, the sport of MMA kicks me in the balls a lot, but occasionally I get something good out of it. And the UFC announced this week the main event for their card when they return to Vancouver later this year, and I get one of the few fights that I said, there's a handful of fights that I really want to watch. I've said, please make this. If it doesn't get made, it'll be a crime. And yet another one, because earlier this year we had another one of those in Tony Ferguson and Donald Cerrone. Now we get one that I've said I've wanted for a while now. We get Cowboy Cerrone and Justin Gaethje trying to kill each other for 5 rounds, and I am, just hook that into my veins.
But I have a question.
All right.
When are we getting Justin Bieber versus Tom Cruise?
When Gambit comes out, they're going to have that at the premiere.
God damn.
Like, you really didn't set yourself up for this.
All right, folks. We hope you've enjoyed this presentation of alternative comedy.
Because they'll do it because they're going to get Tom Cruise to be 80-year-old Gambit.
Old man Gambit.
That's right.
All right, once again, we hope you enjoyed this alternative commentary for Manny Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman. I want to thank Robert Winfrey for joining us. Always, Pat Mullen, thank you for providing your expert analysis. Be well, be safe, and behave.